Welcome to the Vue Query Builder tutorial. In this video, I will show you how to bind complex data to the Syncfusion Vue Query Builder component. You can easily bind complex data using nested columns and directly connect the complex data source to the component. I will demonstrate these. First, I'll open my existing Vue application to which I have added the Query Builder component with styles. To learn how to integrate the Query Builder component into a Vue application, please check out the Getting Started video linked in the card above and the description below. Let me run this application using the npm run dev command. The Query Builder is rendered without any fields or conditions. Next, let me show you how to bind complex data using nested columns and set rules to the Query Builder. This is my complex data, which has the employee, name, and country in the first level. The employee data contains details such as ID, date of birth, hire date, and so on. The name data includes first name and last name details. The country data contains region, country name, and state, which is further classified based on city and zip code. Let me show you how to bind this. First, import the columns directive and column directive and define tags in the component's property. In the Query Builder, define the columns and column tags. Define the field and label it employee. Bind the columns with the employee columns property. In the export default property, use the data method and return the employee columns property by defining it with the employee details such as ID, date of birth, and others. Each column detail contains field, label, and type details. Similarly, I add the column details for name and country. Notice that the country details contain the third-level nested column details for the state. I define the name and country column details in the Query Builder. When I select the employee field, you can see its nested field ID, date of birth, and other fields as defined. For the country field, you can see two child-level fields. Next, I will show you how to define and import rules for this complex data during the initial load of the Query Builder. First, bind the rule property with a property. In the data method, define it with a JSON object. Define the condition property and rules collection. Then, define the label property with value ID and field property with value employee.id. Set the type as number, operator as equal, and value as 1001. This will set a condition for the employee field's subfield ID. Similarly, I add rules for name and country fields. Since I have provided the field separator as a dot, I need to define this. Set the separator property with a string value that contains a dot character. You can see the complex data is bound to the Query Builder. By default, the drop-down list will be rendered for each nested field collection. However, I can also customize it to a drop-down tree view. To do so, in the Query Builder, set the field mode property to drop-down tree. Now the fields can be navigated through a drop-down tree view component to choose all levels of fields. Next, let me show you how the same works when I bind a complex data source. In Query Builder, I comment out the columns-related code. Since I am going to define a data source, this is needed only to customize the fields, so this is optional. Bind the data source property with a property. In the script tag, define the complex data property. Note that I have added the exact field details as an array of objects and the nested field details here. I collapse the complex data, and in the data method, I return it so that it binds to the query builder. Now you can see the same complex data in the field selector based on the field type, the operator changes, and the component changes in the condition. Let me sum up this video. I have shown you how to bind complex data using nested columns and specifying a complex data source to the Syncfusion Vue Query Builder component. You can download the example used in this video from the GitHub link in the description below. I have also included a link where you can check if you're eligible for our community license, which gives you a free license key for our entire Vue suite. If you found this video useful, click the like button and subscribe to our channel to get notifications about new videos. Thanks for watching.